Good morning. Today we are going to talk about measured moves. Before we get into measured moves and how to use them to identify targets, I want to share with you my philosophy on setting targets in general. And in this video, I also want to share all four of the ways that I go about setting targets. Measured move is simply one of them. So, let's first get into the philosophy about setting targets. Now, many of you, myself included for many years, thought, what's the purpose of setting a target? It's rare that we're going to sell at the exact target, so why not just buy at a particular price and let the stock run for as long as it's going to run? The reason why is because we want to figure out what the reward to risk ratio is before we enter the trade. I use the reward to risk ratio as a qualifier for entering a trade. So for example, if there's not enough reward in a trade for me, then I won't take that trade. If I feel that a trade, let's say, let's take this trade for example, right? Let me move my face down. And let's just say that, let's say we didn't know what price was going to do. And let's just say that I thought that I would need to risk 5% on this trade, and I thought that the trade could move 11%. Not bad. I get 2-to-1 reward to risk. Is that worth it to take the trade? Maybe yes, maybe no. Maybe you're looking for stocks that can move at least 15%. Maybe you're looking for stocks that can move at least 20%. We don't know exactly where it's going to go, but if we take a look at the pattern and we start to think through where trades might start to get into trouble, then that's a factor. Now, on this trade, when I was thinking through where might I get into this, a couple of things came to mind. Looking at the historical move of the pattern itself. What do I mean by historical move of the pattern itself? What I mean is looking at how far patterns like this have moved after breaking out. If we take a look at some of the research that William O'Neill has done, he looked at growth stocks that form patterns such as cup with handles, double bottoms, flat bases, and about half a dozen others. And what he found was that when stocks break out of these patterns on heavy volume, that they typically move 20 to 25% before making another base pattern. Great, that's a halfway decent place to start saying, you know what, if it breaks out 20 to 25%, but we don't want to just blanketly say that and have a pie in the sky kind of target like that. We also want to factor in how does this stock typically move, right? Because this one here moves on average 7.5% per day. I know that because I have this indicator down here, PDR, percent daily range. Stu made this indicator for us. If you need access to this indicator, reach out to me, reach out to Stu. We'll be happy to give it to you. It should be in the resources channel on our Discord. All right, back to this. So this stock can typically move about 7.5% per day. So what this is telling me is that if this thing breaks out, then on day one, it could potentially move 7.5% on the day. So just by knowing that, I have an understanding that this thing can move and move quickly, and I'm likely to get to my 15-20% gain quickly. Contrast that if you have a stock and you find it setting up in a similar pattern, but the stock only moves about 1% per day. It's going to take a very long time to get to your 15%, 20% target, right? And that's assuming that it's just going straight up. What happens if it starts to consolidate along the way? That's part of where understanding how the stock historically moves comes into play. Another way to understand it is based on your results. What have your results been? What have your results been recently? How far have stocks that you've recently traded breakouts, how far have they moved after breaking out? Different market environments will yield different kinds of results. So that's why we want to, or one of the many reasons why we want to track our own results, so that way we have a feel of how the market is progressing. Sometimes stocks will move much further. Sometimes they'll move far less. We want to know what type of environment we're in. So that's where the historical part comes in. For this particular trade, when I took this trade, stocks were really moving. So anticipating a 20 to 25% move on a stock that typically moves 7% per day was right in that sweet spot. Great. Now, what other ways can I identify a target? Because I don't want to just throw a dart and say, okay, 20%. The next way is not the measured move. The measured move actually comes last. I use the measured move as a confirmation tool. The next thing that I'll look for is the Fibonacci extensions, or in this case, it'll actually be a Fibonacci retracement, because here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this Fibonacci extension and retracement tool, drag it over to the swing high, and I'm going to drag it all the way down to the swing low. Now, typically the swing low of the pattern is the low of the pattern. But in this case, for the triangle, it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense to draw it from here down to there. For a triangle, you want to take it from the top of the pattern to the midpoint of the pattern, because that's when it's bounced, it's come back, and now it's rallying again. So this actually is the correct spot for the Fibonacci on a triangle. Anyhow, so on this pattern, rather than using the Fibonacci extension, right? Fibonacci has extensions of 1618, 2618. There's actually many others that we can put on here. Let me get the gear icon over here. You can see all the different Fibonacci extensions right in here. If I were to do that, I would be looking for a move of 75%. That is perhaps possible. The stock does move well, but if I'm anticipating that kind of a move, I think that it sets an unrealistic expectation. I would much rather come down here and say, okay, if it could get to the 786 retracement level, I'm at 25%, and looking at what my trades have historically done, plus looking at how this trade generally moves, I think that 25% is a much better target. Plus, it also lines up pretty darn well with that Fibonacci 786 retracement level. So I'm going to set my target there. Great. Now, the next thing that I'll look at still isn't the measured move. The next thing that I'm looking for is a psychological level. A psychological level is typically 5s and 0s. Because this is a low price stock, right? It's only $10. You're generally not going to have that psychological level. Maybe you might think of a psychological level here as like, oh, if it gets to $10.50 or if it gets to $11. It's not something that I would really qualify as a psychological level here. But we can now use the measured move. So here for the measured move, what I'll do is I'll draw from where I'm setting my target. So I'm going to use that 1070 level or 1069, pretty much the same thing, down to where I'm entering, and then seeing where does this fall. Right? So if I draw it down here, right? So I drew from here to there, took that line down, and lo and behold, it catches pretty close to that swing low. So that is how I'll use the measured move to see where it falls. I'll just draw a measured move there. And that is basically it. I take these targets and I'll also enter them into the trade gauntlet. Because there's quite a bit of art, right? Like, so there was a little bit of science in some of it, but a lot of it had to do with art. Even when it comes to the Fibonacci extension and retracement tool, what happens if you drew this to some other level, right? Well, what happens if you put it over here or over there? That's where there's quite a bit of art to this part of it. But I'll still include it in the gauntlet, and it's not weighted super heavy. But the main purpose of setting the target is when I come over here and I see that, okay, I plan to enter at $8.55. My stop loss is at $8.12, so I'm risking 5% to potentially make 25%, and that gives me a 5-to-1 reward to risk. That tells me that this is a trade that fits within what I want to trade, which is a absolute bare minimum 2-to-1. Often I'm looking for 3-to-1, 4-to-1, 5-to-1. It's pretty rare that you'll see me take a 2-to-1 trade, but this fits right in. So you got a little bit more than you bargained for with this. Hopefully it helps. Let me know what other questions you have.